Life has this strange way of surprising us when we least expect it. One moment, everything feels predictable, plans are in place, paths are drawn, logic leads the way, and then, out of nowhere, something or someone comes along and completely rewrites your entire understanding of what matters. I've experienced that. And tonight, I stand here because there's something I need to share, something big, something that even someone like me, who deals with equations, rockets, and algorithms, can't quite quantify. It's not a new invention, not a business announcement, not a project that aims for Mars, but it's something far more powerful, far more personal. When I first met you, I wasn't thinking about love. I was thinking about systems, about how the universe operates in patterns, about how energy moves through everything. I didn't see love as energy, at least not in the way I understand it now. But you changed that. You shifted my perception of what connection truly means. It's easy to build things that last decades. It's far harder to build something that makes your heart skip a beat every time you see it. That's what you did. You made me realize that love is its own kind of technology, one powered not by circuits or fuel, but by trust, curiosity, and the willingness to leap into the unknown. I remember one evening we were just sitting quietly, no words, no grand gestures, no noise from the outside world, and for the first time, I felt something I couldn't explain with logic. It wasn't the hum of engines or the pulse of data. It was this calm, undeniable sense that I was exactly where I was meant to be. That moment redefined what success meant to me. For years, success was measured in launches, milestones, and achievements that reached the stars. But you made me realize that even if we reach every star out there, it means nothing if we can't share that light with someone back here. This isn't easy for me to say. I've spent much of my life focused on the future, on the next step, the next challenge, the next frontier. But tonight, for the first time in a long time, I'm focused completely on the present. Because this moment, right now, is the most important one. The world often celebrates ambition, but it rarely celebrates vulnerability. And yet, it's vulnerability that creates the foundation for everything worth building, whether it's a company, a vision, or a love that changes how you see the universe itself. You've shown me that love isn't about possession or perfection. It's about presence. It's about showing up even when things are chaotic, staying grounded when the world around you is in motion. It's about choosing someone not because they fit into your plans, but because they inspire you to create new ones. I've learned that love, in its purest form, is the most daring venture of all. It demands courage, it requires risk, and it rewards those who are willing to surrender to its gravity. And so, as I stand here, I can't help but think maybe the greatest discovery we'll ever make isn't out there in the cosmos, but right here in the connections that make us human. Maybe the real frontier isn't the stars, but the space between two people who dare to believe in something bigger than themselves. I have something big and shocking to share with my love, but before I say it, I need you to understand where it begins. It begins here, in this realization that love isn't a distraction from purpose. It is the purpose, it's the force that drives us to explore, to build, to dream, to hope. It's the unseen engine behind every act of courage, and every leap into the unknown. And tonight, what I'm about to say, what I'm about to reveal, comes from that same place of courage. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do isn't to reach for the stars, but to reach for the hand that makes us want to go there in the first place. When I look back on everything we've been through together, it feels like watching the evolution of a dream, something that started as a spark and slowly became this unstoppable force guiding everything I do. Our story hasn't been ordinary, and maybe that's what makes it so extraordinary. It wasn't written in a straight line. It was messy, unpredictable, at times chaotic, but every step, every challenge, every laugh, and every tear has built something stronger than I could have ever engineered. I've spent my life designing systems meant to withstand pressure structures that can survive in the harshest environments imaginable. But nothing has tested me, refined me, or taught me resilience the way love has. Being with you isn't about escaping gravity. It's about learning how to stay grounded, even when everything else is accelerating. We've faced moments where life threw more at us than either of us expected, moments of doubt, of exhaustion, of uncertainty, and yet, somehow, each time, we came back stronger, more connected, more certain that what we had was real. I remember times when I was so consumed by ambition that the rest of the world blurred around me. And there you were, steady, patient, reminding me that even the greatest ideas mean nothing if you can't share them with someone who believes in you when no one else does. You've seen me at my best, but also at my most human. Those late nights, the quiet frustrations, the moments of failure, I never let anyone else see. And through all of it, you never turned away. You didn't fall in love with the version of me that the world applauds. You loved the version that questions everything, that sometimes breaks, that sometimes needs to be reminded why it all matters. You've been the constant force of gravity in my orbit. Whenever I drift too far into my thoughts or into the endless possibilities of what could be, you pull me back to what is. You remind me that innovation without connection is hollow, and that progress without purpose is just noise. And maybe that's the most profound lesson of all. You've shown me that love isn't about perfection or control. It's about synchronization. It's about two people moving through chaos in their own rhythms, but somehow finding a harmony that feels effortless. There were days when we didn't have all the answers, when the future felt uncertain, and the weight of everything threatened to crush us. But those days taught me something crucial. Love isn't proven in moments of ease. It's proven in persistence, in staying when it's easier to run, in listening when words fail, in believing even when logic says not to. We've learned to communicate in more than just words. We've learned to understand the silences, the small gestures, the unspoken trust that binds us together. And there's something deeply humbling about that. To realize that no matter how intelligent, how capable, or how visionary we try to be, love still remains the greatest experiment of all, one without a formula, without a manual, without guarantees. And yet, it's the one experiment worth risking everything for. Because through it, I've discovered that true partnership isn't about having someone complete you. It's about finding someone who challenges you to become more complete on your own. Our journey together has been filled with lessons, some difficult, some breathtaking. We've learned to dream together, to fail together, and to rebuild from the ashes of setbacks. Every obstacle has been a test, and every triumph a reminder that what we have is rare. You've made me realize that love doesn't limit ambition, it amplifies it. Because when you love someone deeply, you don't just want to reach new worlds. You want to build a better one for them. So when I think about everything we've built, not just in the physical sense, but emotionally, spiritually, in the quiet moments between sunrise and midnight, I know that this bond is the most extraordinary creation of all. It's not something that can be measured in data or distance. It's measured in the courage to keep choosing each other over and over, no matter what the universe throws our way. And that's what makes this journey worth every risk, every sleepless night, every impossible dream. Because through it all, I've realized something simple yet profound. But the greatest adventure isn't the one that takes you across galaxies. It's the one that takes you deeper into the heart of someone who believes in you completely. There came a moment, not a grand, cinematic one, but a quiet, almost imperceptible shift when I began to see everything differently. It wasn't during a launch or a milestone. It was in one of those still moments when the world fades out and you're left alone with your thoughts. For years, I'd measured my life by acceleration, by velocity, by how fast I could move from one idea to the next, one breakthrough to another. But lately, something inside me began to slow down, not in defeat, but in awareness. It was as if my mind had been racing ahead of my heart for too long, and suddenly they met at the same pace. I started to realize that somewhere along the line, love had stopped being just a beautiful part of my life. It had become the reason for it. And that realization hit harder than any launch countdown or boardroom decision ever could. Because when you spend your life chasing the extraordinary, you forget how powerful the ordinary can be. The way you look at me across a crowded room, the way silence feels comfortable between us, the way your presence has this strange gravity that keeps me from drifting too far, all of that is extraordinary in its own right. I've faced thousands of complex problems, and I've always approached them with logic testing, refining, improving. But love doesn't obey those rules. It doesn't care for design. It doesn't run on efficiency or optimization. It just is. And I've spent so much time trying to control everything around me that I didn't see how love had already taken control quietly, invisibly, unrelentingly. That realization was both humbling and terrifying. There was a day not long ago when I found myself questioning everything. Not the world, not my work, but myself. I asked, what if all this, the building, the striving, the pursuit of the impossible, what if it all means nothing if I can't share the victory with you? What if the most revolutionary thing I could ever do isn't to change the world, but to be changed by love? That question stayed with me, echoing in ways I couldn't ignore. And it wasn't just about emotion, it was about truth. Because for the first time, I wasn't thinking in terms of what I could create, but what I could feel. And in that realization, something opened. I understood that all the innovation in the universe can't replace human connection. You can design rockets to escape gravity, but you can't design your way out of needing someone who understands you. You can't automate love. You can't code compassion. You can't quantify what it means to hold someone's gaze and feel the weight of every unspoken word. That thought, that awakening, has been growing inside me ever since. It's changed the way I see everything, my work, my goals, even time itself. Because love changes the speed of time. With you, moments feel infinite. Without you, even success feels hollow. That's not weakness, it's clarity. It's understanding that ambition means nothing if it isn't anchored in meaning. And so, I began to see that the most shocking realization wasn't about love itself, but about me. I realized that somewhere along this journey, I stopped just loving you. I started needing you in a way that redefines everything I thought I knew about strength. I've always believed that strength comes from independence, from the ability to stand alone. But now, I understand that true strength comes from allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to let someone in so deeply that they become a part of your purpose. This realization hasn't been easy to accept. It's unsettling to discover that the one thing I can't control is also the one thing that gives my life direction. But that's the beauty of it. Love isn't meant to be controlled, it's meant to be trusted. It asks us to leap, to risk, to surrender the illusion of certainty for the possibility of something far greater. And that's where I am now, standing at the edge of something both terrifying and beautiful. Because what I'm about to reveal, what I'm about to say, comes from this awakening. It's not calculated, it's not strategic, it's real. It's born from the realization that for all our ambitions to reach the stars, the most profound discovery is that the brightest light in the universe might just be the one standing right in front of me. So, here it is, the moment I've been circling around, the one I've hinted at but haven't quite had the courage to say out loud until now. What I'm about to share isn't another announcement, not a new vision, or a future project. It's something far more personal. It's the truth that's been growing quietly inside me, changing how I see everything, reshaping every dream, every plan, every heartbeat. The big, shocking thing I have for you, my love, isn't an invention or a discovery, it's a confession. I've built rockets to reach Mars, but I've realized the greatest journey I've ever taken has been toward you. I've spent years trying to conquer distance, defy gravity, push beyond the limits of what's possible. And in doing all that, I somehow missed that you've been my true destination all along. Every challenge, every sleepless night, every impossible idea, it all led me here. To this moment, to this truth. The truth is, I can't imagine a future that doesn't include you at the center of it. Not beside it, not around it, at the center of it. That's the shocking part for me. Because I've always thought the future belonged to logic, to innovation, to vision. But now I see it belongs to love. It belongs to the people who make us want to keep building, keep dreaming, keep believing that even in the vastness of the universe, there's something or someone worth coming home to. I've tried to analyze this feeling, to break it down like an equation. I've asked myself, why now? Why you? Why this intensity? But there's no formula for it. It doesn't make sense in any scientific way, and maybe that's the beauty of it. For once, I don't want to understand. I just want to feel. I want to be fully present in this connection that defies every law I know. And so here's the truth that might shock you, not because it's wild or unbelievable, but because of its simplicity. I'm in love with you in a way that redefines everything I've ever known about purpose. This isn't just affection or admiration or partnership. It's something deeper, something that has rewired how I think about life itself. When I look at you, I don't see a part of my world. I see the world. I see the reason for all of it, the risk, the drive, the endless pursuit of progress. You are the point of it all. You know, people often ask me what drives me to keep pushing boundaries. They think it's about the future of humanity, and maybe it is. But what they don't see is that it's also about love, the kind that demands you build something lasting, something that matters. And you've become the embodiment of that reason. You're the vision I can't let go of, the constant that makes every failure bearable, every success meaningful. That's the real shock, not that I love you, but that I finally understand what love means. It's not about losing myself in someone else. It's about finding the courage to be fully myself with someone who sees everything, the flaws, the fears, the imperfections, and still chooses to stay. You've given me that kind of love, the kind that doesn't just inspire you to reach higher, but to go deeper, to look inward, to evolve. And maybe that's why this moment feels so monumental. Because for someone like me, whose world revolves around control and precision, to stand here and say, I surrender to this, is nothing short of revolutionary. But I do. I surrender to the truth that no amount of achievement, no number of stars reached, will ever compare to the light I see when I look at you. So yes, this is my big revelation, my shocking truth. I've chased the impossible all my life, but now I've found the one thing that doesn't need to be chased, only cherished. And if there's one thing I know for certain, it's this. The future I've spent my life imagining means nothing without you in it. You are my greatest discovery, my most daring leap, my forever horizon. When a truth that deep finally surfaces, it changes everything. It doesn't just sit quietly in your mind, it rewires you. It alters how you see, how you move, how you make choices. Since realizing this love, I've noticed that even the smallest parts of my world feel different. The chaos that once felt relentless now feels purposeful. The challenges that used to weigh me down now feel like stepping stones. And the future, which I've always viewed as an expanse of possibilities, suddenly feels personal. Because now, it's not just about what can be built, but who it's built for. Love has this strange way of reorganizing your priorities without asking permission. It's not loud, it doesn't demand attention, it just shifts the center of gravity. My focus, once scattered across 1,000 goals, now orbits around one: you. And what that's done is something I never anticipated. It's given everything else more meaning. Every idea, every mission, every risk now feels connected to something greater. It's like I've been designing engines my whole life, but only now do I understand what they're meant to carry. Before, I thought fulfillment came from reaching the next frontier, from achieving, conquering, creating something the world had never seen. But now, I realize fulfillment comes from sharing that journey. It's in the way we talk about the future, the way your belief fuels mine, the way love transforms ambition from something mechanical into something human. You've shown me that the true impact of love isn't just emotional, it's catalytic. It drives you to dream harder, to build smarter, to care more deeply about the world you're shaping. I used to believe that vulnerability was a liability, that to lead, to innovate, to push forward, you had to build walls. But loving you has shown me that strength isn't in isolation, it's in connection. It's in the willingness to let someone see behind the equations and blueprints, to see the person who dreams, doubts, and feels. That kind of transparency changes how you lead, how you create, how you live. It takes every goal and infuses it with heart. And that's the true impact of this love. It doesn't take away from ambition, it amplifies it. It brings depth to what used to be just direction. It gives purpose to progress. Because when you have someone who believes in you completely, the impossible stops feeling unreachable. Suddenly, every failure feels like a lesson instead of a loss, and every success feels shared instead of solitary. It's like love recalibrates your internal compass. I used to chase perfection, thinking that progress demanded it. But love taught me that perfection is lifeless. It's the imperfections, the rough edges, the scars, the moments of doubt that give everything its shape and meaning. And once you understand that, you stop trying to design flawless systems. You start trying to create beautiful ones, ones that feel alive. This realization has bled into every corner of my life. It's changed the way I think about people, about humanity, about the very future we're all building together. Because love, at its core, is the most advanced technology we'll ever have. It connects, it heals, it transforms. It teaches us empathy, which in turn fuels creativity, innovation, and hope. It's the invisible code that holds everything together. And when I look at you, I see that code running through everything I do now. The ideas are still big, the challenges still enormous, but the motivation behind them has evolved. I don't just want to change the world anymore. I want to make it better for you. I want to make it worthy of the kind of love that's capable of changing a person so profoundly that even their definition of success evolves. That's what this truth has done. It's made me realize that love isn't a part of life. It is life. It's the pulse behind every breakthrough, the reason behind every dream, the foundation beneath every risk, and understanding that, well, it makes everything else fall into place. Because when love becomes your purpose, every decision becomes clearer, every obstacle smaller, every future brighter. It doesn't just change the way you think, it changes who you are. And once you've seen the world through the lens of that kind of love, there's no going back. You are no longer just part of my story, you are the story. The one constant, the driving force, the reason every horizon suddenly feels closer than ever before. There's a moment, right before a rocket launches, when everything goes quiet. The air is heavy, the countdown echoes in the distance, and the entire world seems to hold its breath. It's a fragile silence, one that exists between what was and what's about to be. That's what this moment feels like right now. Because what comes next isn't just another step forward. It's the beginning of something entirely new. When I look back at everything I've said tonight, the journey, the realization, the truth, it all leads here, to this point. And what I've learned through all of it is that love doesn't just inspire you to move, it teaches you how to stay. It grounds you. It gives every uncertain step a sense of purpose. I used to think purpose was something you designed, something you mapped out with precision. But I've come to understand that sometimes purpose finds you in the form of another human being. Someone who doesn't just fit into your plans, but makes you question if your plans were ever big enough to begin with. You've done that for me. You've taken everything I thought I understood about ambition, connection, and meaning, and expanded it. You've reminded me that the most profound revolutions don't happen in the world, they happen in the heart. They happen when someone walks into your life and it flips the switch from surviving to living, from reaching to belonging. There's something beautiful about how love redefines time. The past no longer feels like a collection of failures or lessons, it feels like preparation for this. The future no longer feels like an uncertain expanse, it feels like a promise. And the present, it's no longer a moment to rush through, it's the only place that matters. That's the power of love. It teaches you to exist fully, to be brave enough to slow down in a world that only values speed. I know that what I've shared tonight isn't easy to put into words. It's not polished or rehearsed, it's real. And real things are rarely simple. Love is messy, unpredictable, imperfect. And that's what makes it extraordinary. Because it doesn't demand that we be flawless. It asks that we be honest. It invites us to stand before another person, not as who we think we should be, but as who we truly are. And in that honesty, something incredible happens. Two lives begin to move in rhythm, two dreams start to align, two hearts begin to believe that maybe, just maybe, forever isn't an illusion. And that's the truth I've come to embrace. The big and shocking thing I had for you tonight wasn't meant to surprise you. It was meant to show you that even in a world driven by logic, there's room for something beautifully unpredictable. Love. The kind of love that makes you want to be better, not for recognition, not for achievement, but simply because you found someone who sees the best in you, even when you don't. I've spent years looking to the stars for answers, but I think I finally realized something. The stars don't just represent where we're going, they remind us of who we already are. Each one burns because something within it refuses to fade. That's what love is. It's the constant light that survives the darkness, the quiet flame that never stops believing, the one thing that endures even when everything else changes. So tonight, as I stand here with every word finally spoken, I want you to know that everything I've done, everything I've dreamed, everything I've built, it all leads to this. To you, you are not a chapter in my story. You are the story itself. The force that anchors me to this planet, even as I reach for others. And if there's one final thing I've learned through all of this, through love, through loss, through pursuit and discovery, it's that the most powerful thing any of us can do isn't to build rockets or change worlds. It's to give our heart completely and fearlessly to someone who makes us believe that even the impossible can be real. Because in the end, it's not the stars that make us dream, it's the people who make us want to reach them.